Hey guys, Utah Steve back for another video, and today I've got my little rugrats with me. Dylan and Jude are joining me and we are backpacking. We're only going in about a mile to a little spot I know. It's a beautiful spring day. It's May 25th. Anyway, it's Memorial Day weekend, and tomorrow's Monday. This almost didn't happen. It was supposed to happen yesterday. Just life gets complicated, especially with, you know, two little boys to chase around. They're still sporting their Teton sports packs from last year that I bought them, and of course I've got my trusty Teton sports pack on. I wanted to go lighter weight, but I have to carry the stuff they can't, so I've got quite a pack on my shoulders. Good thing we're not going in very far. It is absolutely beautiful here. Green and lush and just waiting for us. Here's our trail. We're gonna head off that direction eventually. It's only about 55 degrees in this area right here, so it's gonna be a little chilly tonight. It's cool enough that it's kept the crowds away, even though it's Memorial Day weekend. So as you can see behind me, I don't know if you can see them or not, we passed one group so far and a couple of ladies hiking together, just out for an evening hike. The rest of the trail so far looks like this. Okay, so we've arrived at our site. We've got a fire pit. I'm not sure how that's going to go tonight. Just play that by ear. But our tent's going to go right here. And we're just surrounded by all this beautiful greenery. It's incredible. So we're the only ones up here. Saw a few day hikers, but that's it. We've got it to ourselves. It is overcast intermittently, and it's cool because we've had rain the last couple of days, but tonight is supposed to clear out and tomorrow is supposed to be especially warm. So we picked a good night, scared all the other armchair campers away, because we're tough guys, huh? We can do this, right? Yep. Right, let's get our tent set up before anything else. Okay, the tent is up and pretty much our gear is completely unpacked. Jude's just zipping her up right now. Closing up the vestibule. You see the hook on the ground, buddy? Yeah. Okay. Butt crack. Okay. How you doing, Dylan?
A little cold.
A little cold? Yeah, it's kind of cooled off, as you can tell. So I've got the beanie on too. I'm not too cold enough for a jacket, but if you'll notice, Dylan is actually wearing my coat. Stand up. That's my Columbia jacket.
That's right.
Big and warm though, huh? Jude will be using my camo fleece because what happened is this was supposed to be their weekend with her mom. she couldn't do it for whatever reason. And I told her we need their coats, and they didn't show up with the clothes. I think she's convinced they're at my house, but they're not. So we were going camping no matter what. So they're wearing my coats. We should be all right with those. We've got warm sleeping bags. I don't know if we're gonna have a fire. With all the rain we've had, I don't know if I can get one going or not. That's always an up in the air thing with my outings. I don't know if I'll have one or not. So anyway, let's talk about some mishaps that we've had already. When I put my water bladder in my backpack, apparently it didn't leak like it has a hole in it, but it leaked either from up here where you fill it or down here because I had just filled it. My guess is that there was still water on the outside of the bladder when I put it in the pack. And so here we have the Snug Pack jungle blanket hanging up to dry. It's got a wet spot right here and a wet spot right here. The reason I brought that is if we do get too cold, that's an amazing insulator. It's a really good investment. That will keep you warm down to 40 degrees. I've camped in the summertime with just that blanket, no sleeping bag. But if we get too cold in our sleeping bags, we can throw that over the three of us. We've done this before, haven't we, guys?
I fell asleep at the bottom of the blanket before.
Yeah, so it's just an extra insulating layer that I felt if I was by myself, I probably wouldn't bring, but you know, in addition to a sleeping bag anyway. So we're letting it dry, and along with that, stuffed in there right next to it was my puffer coat. And it got a little damp up here on the collar. So that's the first mishap. The second is I noticed in my gear shed at home a sleep pad I hadn't seen before. And I was all excited. I was like, oh, this is a cool one. I can show it off in the video. Well, it's in there. I don't see the point in showing it at this point. It's flat. There's a hole in it. It's not mine. It's my son's, my other son's. And I just thought I'd borrow it. Why you would keep a sleep pad that leaks incessantly? Like I was literally blowing into it and it was going flat. I'd blow into it and it would go flat. So yeah, there's no air in it at all. I'm going to be sleeping on the hard ground tonight. These two, however, have Thermarest sleeping pads and they'll be just fine. So my stuff's wet and my sleeping pad is flat. But I'm still in the mountains and it's still going to be fun, dang it. Right? You guys are having fun, aren't you?
Yep.
Good. Anyway, so on to the good stuff. Here's our food. And you might notice I have two cook pots. I have this one and I have this one. Well, stoves, I should say. There's a gas stove in here that we'll be using these for. And this I brought just in case there isn't enough firewood up here because it's kind of prone to overuse sometimes and only sticks. So we are either going to succeed with a fire in this pit or we're going to feed a little tiny campfire in this stove. It's just a backup for warmth. That's all it is. So that's pretty much it. What you see is what we have. We kept it really simple. Now we threw this together really quick. It was like 2 p.m. I said, we're going camping. And we were out the door by 4 p.m. and up here by 5 p.m. And we're all set up. And Dylan, what time is it right now, buddy? It's probably 6 p.m. And it's probably dinner time. I think we're all hungry. 6:25. It's later than I thought. The sun is kind of obscured behind the clouds back there. It's time to boil some water and have some Mountain House. That's dinner tonight, except for Dylan. Dylan is going to have Spam and ramen, which is something I like to have on my my solo trips for lunch, that kind of thing. Ramen's always a hit. So he'll eat ramen. He won't always eat the Mountain House meals. So I gave him a choice. Jude, what did you pick?
Chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice. And I am having beef stew, I believe. And so that's dinner tonight. Anyway, I guess that's it. We're all up to speed. Let's get dinner going. I think we're all hungry, aren't we?
I found a bottle cap. 28 days.
February.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, so 1. Okay? But it's wrong.
They all do.
Oh.
Even if they have 31 days, they still have 28 days.
Yep, that was right.
Oh. Crap.
Please save this boy. That was easy. E. What? What's the last letter in spelling? That makes no sense. Z, but it's wrong. I'm confused, Dad.
So Dylan's is ready, but I decided that Jude and I are actually going to split this because there is a lot of food in there. 500 calories. I don't think poor Jude here is going to want to eat the whole thing by himself. So I do have the beef stew one in there if I need it, but I think we're going to split that just for the sake of too much food for one person. So we have snacks and that kind of thing anyway, so.
You know it, dude?
That's what we're looking at. Dry anyway. So that is a lot of food. There should be plenty. So I keep finding these skewers all over the campsite. I guess somebody brought them up here to cook over a fire with and just left them all here. So far I've found 5 or 6. So they're kind of everywhere. I don't know if someone left them on purpose or not, but we'll pack them out just in case. They're not usable, they're kind of rusted. But there we go, there's a clearer shot. But there's no point in leaving them here. Another thing I noticed is they've kind of used this area a little bit for target practice, which is fine, but they didn't clean up their target mess. There are things around here like these broken pieces of a dish or a cup or something, and there's some stuff over that way that's kind of shot up. So there's Jude in my camo fleece. Comfy? Does it feel good?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're warm, buddy. All right. Dinner soon.
There's a hole in your jacket.
There is.
Yeah, at the back of it.
I've had this a long time. It's probably time for a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what it looks like. Looks awesome. So we just had a deer run across this road right here, just boom. And usually they're not by themselves. He's already disappeared into the woods, but I was hoping maybe he has some buddies. Dylan can still see him over there in the woods, but I don't know if I can get it on the camera or not. We were hearing some sounds off that way in the woods, like antler rubbing or something like that. It was definitely big. It wasn't a person. And I don't know if that's related or not. I have seen mooses up in here quite frequently. But usually when you see deer up in here, they're not all alone. And he ran right down into this thick brush. It's amazing how quickly they disappear. there's a meadow, that light at the end of the tunnel there. There's a meadow down there that they'll frequently come out into about this time of night. Maybe we'll take a little walk and check it out. I have no idea where he went now. He was pretty quick, wasn't he?
Did you see him dart across the trail?
Yeah, I saw him.
So he came up from there?
He came from up in there. Maybe that's what we were hearing.
Oh, he went around.
Mm-hmm. He went around our camp and then cut across here. Well, I don't see anything right now. I've seen an entire herd run through here before. Anyway, come on.
Taking another picture.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Awesome. Awesome picture, dude. Let's be quiet walking back, okay? Maybe we'll see something. I can hear that most people are gone. Can't hear any voices really. Yeah, somebody's up there, but that's it. There's a trail that runs up that way. We found more skewers, different kind, further down the road. Someone left behind.
What is this one?
I don't know. We're not going to leave them here. And somebody up in there cut down a whole bunch of green trees and chopped the snot out of some other ones just for fun. You can tell that armchair outdoor enthusiasts have been in the woods and they got a new axe. Had to punish the trees for existing. Makes me mad.
Hey Jude, we're gonna practice. Come over here.
So I'm trying really hard to get this going. It's more of a smolder than a fire.
No.
And it was built up pretty good, but it collapsed. And it's burning, but I don't know if I can keep it going or not. This wood is kind of damp, like I said, and so it's trying though. It's trying. I don't know if I can get it big enough and hot enough. This log here I dragged over here, and I've got these branches, and there's not a lot else around here, so we'll see what happens.
You can make up what you say, okay? nature sounds. Good night.
So I've been trying to keep this thing going. We've got really hot coals, and it's definitely warmed us up, but oak does not like to burn.
In Minecraft?
If it weren't for my bellows here, I probably wouldn't be able to keep it going. But hey, it's better than no fire at all. Well guys, there's not much left of this fire. It warmed us up a bit, so it's not like it was a total waste. This wood does not want to burn at all. The boys are climbing in the tent to get warm. It's 8:30, so not quite bedtime. Maybe another hour. But, okay guys, it is pushing 9 o'clock and we're in the tent.
I'm just reading Spider-Man. My brother gave it to me for my birthday.
Yeah. What are you reading?
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Of a Wimpy Kid.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't have anything to read. I guess I do have something to read, but I think we'll watch some videos too together. We're still in cell phone range.
Yeah.
So
our house,
I still have a signal.
Because the city that we live in, I don't know if it's okay to say it or not. I don't know if you want
I say it all the time.
Okay. Anyway, Ogden is just over that mountain, so.
Yeah. Got anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Good night. Good night.
Okay. Good night, guys. We'll see you in the morning.
Bye.
Okay. Okay. Well, good morning, guys. Sorry about the morning puffy face. Happens more when I'm in the mountains than when I'm at home. I guess it's the altitude. I had a pretty good night sleep-wise, but I did toss and turn a lot. I, of course, had a sleeping pad that was not really a sleeping pad anymore, and so I slept on the hard ground like I used to before I knew sleeping pads existed. Before I really got into backpacking and all the gear that's available to make yourself comfortable in a convenient way. I used to sleep on the hard ground in a tent, and I used to complain that I hated sleeping in tents because of the hard ground. And then I discovered, oh, they make these things called sleep pads, and that changed my whole world. I love sleeping in hammocks too. Plan on doing some of those campouts this year. But in the meantime, my hip was just digging into that ground like you wouldn't believe. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Jude is awake. It's a little after 7 a.m. He's just laying in his sleeping bag reading, and Dylan's still asleep. So I'm just letting them kind of do their thing before I make breakfast. I think the plan today is just that. It's probably just to have breakfast, and I don't know if we'll explore some more or if we'll just pack up and go home. I'm not sure. But all in all, it was a good night. There were wild turkeys gobbling, for lack of a better word, through the woods all night. It was kind of cool to hear. And as always, up here there were owls calling to each other. There's one up in there, there was one off this direction, and they were just kind of talking to each other all night. I was walking down this very trail right here that I'm on one time after dark, and the most amazing thing happened. This huge white owl swooped like literally this far above my head, just woof, like he was just checking me out, you know. The amazing thing was not only how huge he was, his wingspan, but how silent. Like, I didn't hear him coming. I was just walking along, and all of a sudden, just like a little breath right over the top of my head, and I just went, whoa! Had my headlamp on. I was just blown away. It's one of those experiences that I have a lot in the woods that never get caught on camera. Like the deer cutting through here multiple times now. It might even be the same deer over and over, I'm not sure, but haven't caught him on film. On video, I should say. You can always tell how old someone is if they say, I'm gonna videotape this. You're not using videotape, you're using a memory card. You're just gonna video this. But you hear it a lot. You hear people say they're gonna videotape something or tape something. And I would be one of those people that sometimes say that. Anyway, I guess that's about it for now. I'm just kind of wandering this trail, taking in the sunlight, listening to these amazing birds. They're kind of going nuts with the sunrise. And I don't know, turns out there's one other couple. There's a couple down through those trees, quite a ways off. They came up here and spent the night. I thought that was pretty cool that they wanted to spend that time together. And I haven't heard them at all. They've been very respectful and quiet. I love the way the sun is right now. Isn't that cool? Look at the way it's hitting these flowers. It's kind of hit and miss throughout the forest right now. Just some sun, some shade. Pretty cool. I think to warm things up, I'm gonna gather some twigs and get that kind of fire gas stove of mine going. It makes a nice little fire pit, and I would have done that last night, but by the time the fire had died down that I tried to make, the boys were ready to climb in the tent, and it was late enough that we could. So it's time for the firebox stove. I just got to gather up some twigs. Seems they'll burn okay, just not the bigger stuff. And I've had pretty good success with that in the past up here, so it'll give us a source of heat and comfort. So I used these in my backyard camp out recently. It's like a match, but it's got all kinds of good chemicals in this to help it burn, and then it comes with a little fire striker here. My camera's having a hard time with this concept, but basically just light it and it burns for about 7 minutes. Some people don't like these. They find them tedious and annoying to have to keep babysitting them, feeding them, but I actually really enjoy. There's something very meditative and peaceful about feeding the fire. Gonna have to let it burn a little bit. Once it gets going though, it's usually pretty good. Hey buddy.
Hi.
Did you get a good sleep?
Mhm.
Feel good?
Yep.
Good. Brother's still asleep.
I know.
Want to get warm? It's nice and warm. Just squat down. Get your hands over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? Just be careful of that flame there. You want to catch on fire.
You should have really brought gloves.
Think so?
Yeah, my hands are cold.
I've got some hot hands in there.
Oh, right.
Do you know where they are?
Yeah.
Okay. You can see how it turns into like a torch. It's the way it distributes the air. It's almost like a gas stove. And it really can get going. Like I said, the only drawback is you have to sit here and babysit it. That's really nice. Much better than the fire I tried to start last night, huh?
Mhm.
Now this little slot right here, this open spot right here, is for when you have a pot sitting on top and you can still feed the fire. It's like a portable fire pit.
Mhm.
It was really good. Dylan will get up, I'll start breakfast.
Mhm.
So Jude and I both agree this should have been what I did last night. This is what I should have done last night. This should have been done, dang on boom, man. All right, so this is what we should have done last night to warm ourselves up. Is Jude's just hanging out here by the fire, and so am I. And it's really toasty. It's putting out a lot of heat. It's radiating out quite a bit, so you don't have to even be that close to it. Right, Jude?
Mhm.
Breakfast skillet. Got some hash browns in there, some eggs. What else? What else is in this? Hash browns, scrambled eggs mixed with pork sausage patty, peppers, and onions. Mm-hmm. About 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Skillet goodness. Something is stirring in the tent. I saw it with my own eyes. Hey, there he is. Finally. Welcome back. He's not awake. Toasty warm. You want to sit here?
All of these.
What's your review of that? For the camera, what's your review of the breakfast?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Mine's a little different. Mine has shredded potatoes in it. And came out a lot more soup-like. See if I can get you a view there. Yeah, it's kind of runny, but it'll have to do. I've never had the breakfast skillet before. So here's hoping. It's all right.
It's just cold.
Okay, so we are finishing up breakfast. Even the breakfast skillet was even a hit with my pickiest eater. Dylan's over there grubbing on it and slowly coming to life. Right now, we're not going to stay for lunch. We didn't really plan to anyway. I think we're about ready. We're tired and we're dirty. Ready to go home and shower and take on the real world. Work calls and you know, video games, playing on the trampoline calls. So right now we're just gonna clean up camp and then we'll come back and say goodbye. We've used, now that I think to say it, my 3-liter bladder of water and about a liter of one of their 2-liter bladders. And we have one more 2-liter available, so we had plenty of water. I didn't bring a filter because I figured this would be enough for this short hike in and for just an overnighter. And this is what our fire pit situation looks like. It's kind of a mess. We'll get that all cleaned up. In case you were wondering, this is the sleep pad that I slept on, even though it was flat. It's not the company's fault. It's made by Static 5, I guess, Static V, and has a limited lifetime warranty. It looks like this just got punctured by, you know, laying on top of something. It's a pretty good hole in it somewhere. I found it once, but anyway, that's what I technically slept on. Okay guys, we are all cleaned up. No more camp residue, no more tent residue, except for some flattened plants, but that was there when we got here. People probably put their tent there all the time. So there we go. We are ready to go. So guys, thanks for joining me for another video. And Dylan and Jude and Bob Jr. Do yourselves a favor. Get off the couch. Get outside. Have some fun. The views are spectacular, even with an airplane going over. And if you can't get outside, just come with me. I could use the company. We could use the company. See you in the next one, guys.